The military-industrial complex. It's a very complicated subject. It goes back many decades. Uh, it's been something that has been built up over time. And for those who are kind of new to this topic in particular, you're probably wondering, well, what am I talking about? What kind of complex is going on? Well, ever since the World Wars, there's been a buildup and a buildup of arms. And it typically happens from uh, private companies, and they get contracts to do research and development, um, R&D, or they actually manufacture stuff for the militaries. And over time, though, this has kind of like created a global international cabal of private corporations that within industry, and I'm talking about big industry, names that you could find on the Dow Jones or the S&P 500, that are now enmeshed politically or through various ties. A lot of times it's through the military and other technologies that governments want. And they're enmeshed with all of the world governments. It's pretty much everywhere. Now you pretty much see a higher level of enmeshment with the first world countries because they typically have more resources, and so corporations are wanting to have that relationship and to create that manipulation. But the military industrial complex has a stranglehold on advancement, a monopoly on progress, and a fixed presence which filters potential um, that comes from the private sector outside of their control. And so they go way out of their way to make sure that there is no competition. It's a controlling corporatist oligarch that is active now more than ever. And I think that we need to be really aware of what type of influence and control they really have. And we see it through everyday life. In fact, we have a lifestyle that is a result of what is and what is not allowed. They promote regional conflicts, and of course, they also promote various solutions too, because they just happen to have those because they started the stuff and they have a game plan to pretty much play sides. You know, and in wars, you see a lot of corporate uh, entities. They'll sell goods to both sides, or two different countries, or two different sets of powers struggling, and they don't care. They just want somewhat of control, money, and I think now it's even more beyond money because they probably have all the money they want, need. They just want control. And they have their own personal agendas. They are driven by whatever warped manifesto that they have. And of course, you can go a lot further down the rabbit hole at that point. Uh, Illuminati and however far you want to go with that. But there's definitely some agendas there. There's suppression of technology, as we spoke just briefly a minute ago. No doubt about that. They use the taxpayers' money to fund secret programs. Many are ultimately used against the citizens themselves. They create deep earth bunkers, technologies which we will never see and the public never gets to use. And this includes like energy sources, medical technology and advancements, and even knowledge of space activities. You know, what is really going on in our skies and in the space around our planet and even in deep space. You know, I have a hard time believing that at this point in civilization we don't know more than we do. They are intermixed and just enmeshed once again with the fraud that we constantly find within NASA. NASA is always creating bogus information. Sometimes they put out a little bit of real information and they release a little bit of some type of maybe real knowledge, but then they mix it up with a lot of in my opinion, and I think this is not even really my opinion. This is pretty clear. A lot of fraudulent activity. They are guilty for testing diseases, biowarfare on the general population. And there's an increased probability of the, this is a really hard thing to talk about, but that they are responsible for the missing people, and to some degree, not all of them by any means, but there's a lot of people who go missing just in the USA year now. It ranges, if you kind of look at the last 10 years data, it typically ranges between 650,000 to 700,000 people a year go missing just in the USA. 275,000 Great Britons disappear a year. Now, some of them are found, some of them are not alive though, but there are a lot of them that never get found. I mean, a lot. It just depends on what country you're looking at, depends on, who's ever found. Now, this number is very loose here, so I'm not going to say this is definitive. It's not possible with the way that countries work. Not all countries, especially the ones that are more underdeveloped, don't have a very reliable, or some of them don't even have a reporting system on who's missing. But the best estimate on paper that we can prove that are missing globally is between 1.3 to 1.5 million. But that is commonly known as to be an extremely conservative estimate. And that's just what we know for a fact, but it easily could be 2 to 3 times more than that, and it probably is. It really is. Once again, most of the world doesn't even report this, or it's underreported. The military-industrial complex is very scary because they need people to test on to see if their weaponry works. There's a lot of rumors. I have no proof to really say this is true or not, but in a lot of these deep earth bunkers, they're not just used to protect people, high value people and materials, but there's also laboratories, there's storage facilities for goods, and there's prisons, from what I understand. And a lot of these people could be being held against their will, and they're not even criminals. So they could be just test subjects for whatever they're doing. And this is scary because there could be a lot more kidnapping than we could ever even know, globally speaking. The military-industrial complex uses politics, obviously, and science to manipulate the public opinion and what is commonplace. They use so-called science to kind of lead people into whatever they want you to believe, because supposedly science is so objective. As we know, science constantly refutes itself over time. It's something that you don't really get any kind of long endurance with science. You wait another 5-10 years, science has a new explanation for something. So if you're looking for absolute truth, science doesn't have it. Now we need to look just real quickly into the progressive socialist agenda. This obviously dumbs down the population. This works towards stripping more freedoms from people, especially in the USA. And let's not forget, of course, the black space programs, the black military technology and programs there, the compartmentalized, classified stuff that's not even on record. Best estimates in a lot of these black programs, if you will, 15 to 20 years more advanced than the average citizen technology. That's very conservative from a lot of people that have leaked information. It's 15 to 20 years, typically minimum. This blanket of classified secrecy enslaves the citizens. It steals human potential, and if you can't be bought off to be quiet, you will be killed. How many alternative holistic doctors, engineers also, and scientists who accidentally stumble upon a cure or high technology, maybe they invent something, die mysteriously, unexpectedly. If you look into this, you'll find that there's more than you'll ever know. And it's spooky. just in the last few years, a very large rash of holistic doctors that are making great progress with autistic children, fighting various side effects of various vaccines that have been giving horrendous symptoms and all kinds of horrible reactions. They've been reversing autism, but guess what? These doctors are just going missing, and they're found dead a lot of times in creeks and just crazy stuff like that. So you kind of have to wonder what's really going on. And I think there's always an agenda going on. As much as it's not fun to talk about, there's a lot of problems in this world, but we can overcome them if we come together. Thanks for watching.